Good morning.
Where's Shannon?
Supposedly inflation.
Yes.
See her, yeah.
She's supposed to do her
Their
information.
steel cloth, steel is up 50%.
Is there anybody on the side of the post? I can't see the rest. I see Roxanne, but. Okay.
Good morning, Jason York.
Good morning, Jason.
Hey, Scott. Shannon coming?
Should be.
Okay.
Then I made it, and then I dropped it in the parking lot, which turned it back on, so I didn't realize that.
How are you guys? Good? Good.
We don't have questions. Yeah. Yeah. Supposedly PennDOT has the worst garbage. PennDOT contractors.
No, I would have hunted you down.
I figured.
They're generally not our lowest price, and hopefully some non-PennDOT guys.
It's a chance to brag about your department.
There's so much to brag about that I didn't know what to put on here.
Are we live yet?
We're live, but no.
She got called so last week. She was, I was only in there for half an hour, but Sal was there yesterday, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Has he been over like 8:15? He's come back to Texas.
He did reach out. And I guess he's like, I have to.
Here he is.
When I said I forgot something, you realized you said.
Yeah, I'm Ready?
So he doesn't do
This is the journal. Yeah,
That's first week of March. It's just gonna be.
I got one that canceled. Okay. Yep. We have some seats up here available if you'd like to have a seat.
Front row, too.
Yeah. We promise we won't bite.
I tried.
Getting longer, because Mark will be back in the office.
Good morning, everyone. I ask you to please rise for a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious weather on this primary day. We are thankful that we live in a land of freedoms. That includes the opportunity to freely vote. Father, as we see new life in the season of spring in our valley, may we see new growth in our communities through business and opportunities for all. Lord, we've been through so much over the past year. We pray as things are opening more daily that you'll be with our residents, young and old, and help them to flourish once again. One group that was on the front lines from the beginning was our emergency medical services. This week we recognize and honor members of our medical services. These members of the medical field include our first responders, paramedics, technicians, dispatchers, firefighters, police, doctors, and nurses. These men and women have withstood on the front lines in battle with COVID. Although they were challenged, they fought to protect, treat, and care for our loved ones. We thank you for helping them through this difficult year. We ask you for continued safety over each one of these heroes. Lord, we ask you for your guidance throughout our meeting. May it be one of unity and guide our decisions with wisdom. We present these requests humbly in your name. Amen.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For those that are on the phone, would you please mute your phone until it's your turn?
At this time, we'll convene the Commissioners' Public Meeting and ask for approval in the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried. And at this time, we'll have public comment on agenda items only. Okay, hearing none, move on.
We have, I apologize, I forgot to put one of the proclamations on here, but we have two proclamations with emergency medical services today. Commissioner Masser and Commissioner Marabito are going to read those.
Proclamation, Emergency Medical Services for Children Day. Whereas more than 30 million children receive emergency medical care each year due to illness or injury, and whereas the needs of children are different than the needs of adults in medical emergencies, and whereas the goal of emergency medical services for children is to help states and communities to prepare for a medical traumatic emergency involving a child through the provision of properly trained emergency personnel, sufficiently equipped ambulances, pediatric-ready emergency departments, and well-defined pediatric treatment protocols and procedures. And whereas Emergency Medical Services for Children relies on its established partnership within the emergency medical services community, as well as physicians and nurses who provide pediatric emergency care to help states and communities reduce child and youth disability and death due to severe illness or injury. And whereas Emergency Medical Services for Children, the tens of thousands of EMS providers and acute care professionals it serves, and the more than 25 professional organizations in which it partners are committed to improving the quality of emergency care children receive. And whereas it's proper and timely to bring recognition to the value and accomplishments of emergency medical services for children and the dedicated men and women who work tirelessly to improve the quality of pediatric medical care. Now, therefore, we, the Lycoming County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the date of May 18th, 2021 as Emergency Medical Services for Children, EMSC Day, as part of National EMS Week in Lycoming County, Pennsylvania. And we urge all citizens and healthcare professionals serving the pediatric population to celebrate the EMS Strong theme. This is EMS, caring for our communities, to become familiar with the EMSC, its programs and activities in our state and nationally, and to support and participate in educational and outreach programs to increase their knowledge of best pediatric medical care practices. In testimony whereof, we have hereunto set our hand and caused it to be affixed to the seal of Lycoming County, Pennsylvania, on this day of May 18th, 2021. Signed, Lycoming County Commissioner Scott L. Metzger, Chairman, Tony R. Masser, Vice Chairman, Richard Marabito, Secretary. Wow, what an exciting thought, if you think about it. Certainly 100 years ago, we didn't have EMS for children, and I'm sure that Wendy or someone can tell us when it was first established. But the thought that we actually devote not just some individuals, but the whole idea of studying and figuring out all those partnerships that were mentioned, the personnel, the hospitals, the vehicles, and everything, is really incredible, and it adds to saving kids' lives, and we want to thank you for that, because it's one of those things that people often take for granted. And if you have a child who has an emergency and you call, you expect someone's going to be there. Well, they're only there because of the volunteers and the paid personnel who man these, and so we thank you for that very much. And we hope that we can learn from you what we can do in between the time the crisis happens and you're able to arrive. And I think it would be helpful to remind citizens what they can do, families what they can do, because I'm sure that there's a lot that you could teach us about that. So I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
In a minute. You want to say anything? Okay. Well, I've been a Little League president for the past 20 years, and I've been on ball fields a lot of times when your assistance was required, from heat strokes to fractured legs, and I see the professionalism as a coach and a president, as your staff of each hospital shows up and assists those individuals and those kids, and the parents that are scared, they don't know what's going to happen with their child in those emergency situations, and how your professionalism and calmness reaches those parents and those kids, and then treats them and brings them back to our ball fields, and lets them know that when that 911 call is made, you folks are there, and you respond and you take care of them. And I've often said our kids are our treasures from heaven, and for you to assist them in the way that you do, and in the public, is amazing. The other thing I'll share with you is, as a new father, 30 years ago, I had a doctor who heard what he thought was maybe something wrong in my child's heart, and he didn't pass it off. And he handed him off to the medical profession. And he ended up having open heart surgery at the age of 6 months, which saved his life. And it was a very serious heart condition, but it could have been passed off as a heart murmur. 30 years later, he's a father of 2 kids, only had 1 surgery. In that condition, they often have surgeries throughout life. And I watched the medical profession, as a scared father, treat me and our entire family with professionalism and kindness and love. And what they did for my son through that first few years of his life, to where he's perfectly fine now, and he'll be able to share with his 2 kids what he won't remember it, but he hears the stories about the hospital, the professionalism of the doctors, and what they brought to our lives. So I deeply thank each one of you for all your service. You truly are heroes.
And I'll ditto those remarks. I can't add any more. You know, it's very important to what you do in our community for the youth, and thank God we have these trained professionals here in Lycoming County. Okay. I have the other proclamation: Emergency Medical Service Week, May 16th to the 22nd. Whereas emergency medical service is a vital public service, and whereas the members of the emergency medical services team are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical services has grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. Whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public and other out of the hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of emergency medical service teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of the emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Service Week. Now, therefore, we, the Lycoming County Commissioners, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 16th to the 22nd, 2021 as Emergency Medical Services Week. With the EMS Strong theme, we encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Signed by Lycoming County Commissioners Scott Metzger, Chairman, Tony Macera, Vice Chair, and Rick Marabito, Secretary. You know, it is 24/7, and I thank God, you know, you are available to every member of this community. You know, it is not an 8 to 5 job. But what's amazing is, to me, with all the challenges that face our community and the crisis that the EMS is having right now, you're all still here. You know, so it is a calling. It's something that it's in your blood. And we all know the Bill Henry story, you know, from you know, our teacher in South Williamsport, Bill Byam. It's a great story, so never let that story die. That's how important it is. Most of you started this calling at a very young age. I've talked to many of the EMTs, and it's incredible, you know. I started 6 years of age, I was interested in this. It's truly a good story. Knowing we were placed on an EMS crisis, we were placed on a task force, and I believe that there is hope on the way. For the, I guess, a number of the fire departments, a number of the EMS workers, there is help on the way, legislatively as well. So pay attention to some of the bills that will be coming out from the Senate and from the House, because they are very important. You know, they'll write it with an intent, but it can be interpreted differently. And so when you're seeing these, and we'll try to pass that on, when you're seeing these legislators create these bills, let us know as county commissioners, and we'll bring it back to the task force to say, hey, can you change a few things? And I'm sure they will be open for any kind of good suggestions. So on behalf, well, I want to thank you for your dedication and services, you know, 24/7. It's really appreciated.
We participated in the webinar that Commissioner Macera was talking about last week that they had at CCAP, and we're very much aware of the crisis. And if you look at it, you know, Pennsylvania in this census lost population. We are losing more younger people. We know volunteers are not as readily getting engaged. And at the same time, we do need to make sure our response times are right up there, right? We want rural Pennsylvania to get just as good EMS service as they do in major metropolitan areas, because frankly, it's really important to our economic growth. When people are going to look at an area to decide where they want to live, especially as they get older, they're looking for medical services, they're looking for those kinds of things. So the work you do is so incredibly important. Obviously, it's important in saving people's lives, but also having a really good EMS service in the county is a place that attracts people to say, hey, I'm going to live there, I want to do there. So on behalf of the citizens of the county, we want to thank you. We will keep our eye on the legislation, and we'll continue to hopefully get your input, as Commissioner Macera said.
Thank you. Okay, we have some proclamations. Would any one of you like to come up at the podium and say a few words?
Okay, the guy looking around there.
We got Wendy coming up. She's a brave soul. Thank you, Linda. Could you state your name and where you work?
I'm Wendy Hastings. I work for Lycoming County Public Safety, and I've been here 29 years working for the EMS Council, and it's very exciting to be here to do this. So this is actually the second year in a row that the global pandemic has dashed our hopes of having an in-person gathering, but I really appreciate the Commissioner's support in allowing us to recognize a few of our very exceptional providers here today. So starting out with our EMT of the year, she has worked tirelessly to impact the EMS system in Muncie Township, as well as the eastern end of Lycoming County. In order to address concerns with response issues, she developed a response plan for her department that has significantly increased the capabilities of her department. On any given day, holiday or weekend, you can hear her familiar voice on Muncie Township Ambulance. She's become an employee for the weekend program through Hughesville and Muncie area fire departments to help fill open shifts. She's recognized for her ongoing teamwork, knowledge, and skill, as well as mentoring new providers. Additionally, our EMT of the Year has assumed the additional leadership role serving on the LTS EMS Council's Regional Advisory Board. So we congratulate Jeannie Wines as our EMT of the Year. Our EMS Instructor of the Year is presented to an active member of both the Hughesville and Picture Rocks Fire Departments, where she serves as an EMT. She is currently the course coordinator for the EMS certification program through the Harrisburg Area Community College in Lycoming County. She's put in exceptional effort to make students feel comfortable in her learning environment and utilizing many different techniques to help her students be successful. She's exceptionally dedicated and has recently completed her advanced EMT training. This year's Lycoming County EMS instructor is presented to Sue Clayton.
Now, could you look up at the camera, please, so people can recognize you?
There are many reasons that a provider can be nominated for an award for their years of service, community impact, or individual acts of heroism. Our Paramedic of the Year is being recognized for an extraordinary act of heroism and life-saving. On December 16, 2020, Paramedic Joe Hanstein responded with a team of public safety personnel to Interstate 80 in Clinton County for one of the most heroic and life-saving efforts ever in this region. As the day progressed into the afternoon, snow began to fall at a heavier rate. Lycoming County dispatched units west to I-180 for a multi-vehicle crash with injuries. Joe and his partner, Michael Betts, had covered multiple 911 emergencies in Clinton County before being asked at 7 p.m. to bring a heating blanket to the crash scene. This was 4 hours after the initial dispatch. Upon arrival, the incident commander asked if they carried the medication etomidate and were directed to an entrapped patient. A female was entrapped for 3 hours by tractor trailers confined in a Jeep. Working alongside a local medic who was ventilating a decompensating patient, Joe needed to make multiple critical airway management decisions that included the last resort of cricothyrotomy. Additional crush syndrome, open fractures, hypothermia, and perfusion-based care was required for additional hours until the skillful extrication efforts of the rescue team could be complete. Joe worked collaboratively with Clinton and Center County medics to transport the patient to UPMC Williamsport Trauma Team through treacherous roads. At one point during the transport, the ambulance was stuck in a snowbank. In total, Joe and his colleagues had rendered care for over 8 hours to save this patient's life. She was discharged from UPMC Williamsport neurologically well with extensive musculoskeletal rehabilitation. Joe's critical thinking, collaboration, and adapt skills saved this patient's life. This year's Paramedic of the Year is presented to Joe Hanstein. Unfortunately, our telecommunicator of the year was not able to be here today, and her award will be presented at the 911 Center. But Lycoming County's telecommunicator of the year has provided life support assistance and confident reassurance for countless residents that have called 911 scared and confused. For over 5 years, she has assisted with many types of emergency medical instruction, to include talking family members through performing CPR, and those caring for victims of overdose. Many of these incidents ended in positive outcomes that could not have been possible without her professional guidance in the caller's time of crisis. In addition to taking and dispatching calls, she coordinates monthly continuing education for the 911 staff and is a trainer for new telecommunicators, having been recently promoted to shift supervisor. She also takes the initiative to ensure the center has adequate coverage by working more than her share of overtime, which isn't easy considering she's a dedicated wife and mother of a 6-year-old daughter. This year's Lycoming County Telecommunicator Award will be presented to Ashley Dietrich. And I'd like to ask our Regional Medical Director, Dr. Greg Fraley, to come up to present our last award.
I don't think I need the camera shot. I don't want to blind it. The most esteemed award that our Regional EMS Council presents is the Klein A. Dwyer Memorial EMS Service Award, presented to a currently certified EMS provider in the LTS region who has 10+ years of service and through his or her lifetime has exhibited an ongoing and extraordinary dedication to his or her community, and whose significant contributions to emergency medical services in the community personify the selfless giving, compassion, and commitment that is Klein's legacy. This year's recipient is Stephen A. Bixby, better known as Tony. Tony began his public service career as a volunteer firefighter and EMT in Bradford County. After graduating from the Williamsport Hospital Paramedic Training Institute, he served as a paramedic with Susquehanna Health, later being promoted to manager for Susquehanna Regional EMS. In 2017, he became director of pre-hospital services for UPMC Susquehanna. Before that, he was a critical care paramedic working out of Life Flight 4 in Montoursville. Tony was and continues to be the only paramedic in the Life Flight Air Medical Services system who held a leadership position, as he was the Eastern Supervisor and Director of Education before leaving his position to come back to SREMS. During this time, he has devoted his life and time and efforts into solidifying his pre-hospital team's footprint within the healthcare system of Lycoming, Tioga, and Sullivan County EMS regions. Excuse me. Over the past 2 years, Tony has led the SREMS team to teach Stop the Bleed program to countless EMS providers, fire personnel, law enforcement personnel, local schools, churches, and various community groups. Tony secured funding from UPMC Susquehanna Foundation to provide over $100,000 in Stop the Bleed kits to these communities, assuring they were educated and equipped. Tony organized and continues to educate and train every employee at UPMC Williamsport on the importance of this life-saving initiative. This bystander-focused education has already saved lives in the community. Tony has been one of the biggest advocates and supporters of the trauma program at UPMC Williamsport since its inception. He has championed the pre-hospital portion of the trauma program with his SREMS team members and executive hospital leadership. The SREMS team under Tony's leadership has provided extensive education of the emergency department, intensive care, and operating room staff on primary and secondary trauma assessments. As we all know, trauma care starts from the moment the injury occurs. And knowing that we have dedicated and highly skilled EMS providers to teach our team makes a difference in the lives of our patients and their families. This advocacy for a local trauma system has already saved lives in the community. Emergency medical services is the front door to the trauma system. Being able to work collaboratively as one of the team, will improve patient care throughout our communities, as we have seen. Tony has led his team during the COVID pandemic to develop an in-home testing process for COVID-19. Tony led SREMS teams to go to patients' homes with proper PPE and perform the testing. The focus of this was the at-risk population that could not physically make it with safety to a collection center, such as elderly, non-ambulatory pediatrics, and special needs patients. He also wanted to assure first responders had COVID testing available from the beginning of the COVID crisis. The SREMS leadership team went into local and regional nursing homes to test residents. This service allowed nursing home administrators to address the current pandemic issues facing their residents in the absence of other options to be able to do and perform that service. As our pandemic needs evolved, Tony was one of the directors for our many COVID vaccine clinics throughout the county. His efforts truly made a difference in the lives of our community members. Tony's developed the mobile integrated healthcare system model where SREMS personnel are now performing pre-admission testing services in the community. The SREMS teams are drawing blood work, performing EKGs, obtaining vital signs, obtaining urine samples, and COVID and MRSA swabs to assure patients have access to delayed, essential, and elective procedures due to COVID pandemic. At home, pre-admission testing assures the at-risk population have only to arrive at the hospital for their services for their surgery, alleviating their anxieties or physical inabilities to access such needed health services. Susquehanna Regional EMS has accomplished these community and patient-centered goals because of Tony's solid leadership. He prioritizes the efforts of his team towards rapid cycle projects that truly make a difference in his hometown while expanding services in innovative ways. For Tony, SREMS is more than an EMS service. It is where his paramedic career began many years ago. And since then, he has dedicated his professional career to improving patient care through education, training, and community involvement. His strategic vision is for his team to be endless. He has known that through hard work and dedication, his team will break barriers, form new relationships within our communities, and expand the scope of practice for EMS providers throughout the north central Pennsylvania area. It's my honor and our honor to present this year's Klein A. Dwyer Memorial EMS Services Award to Tony Bixby.
Thank you.
I'd like to add a couple more comments. You know, many studies were done in the past regarding the crisis of the EMS. And I think the last study was SR6. What that study did was bring to the forefront the issues that we had. We knew a lot of the issues. We just weren't acting on them. And I'm honored to say Wendy is one of the point of contacts for our study at CCAP. So we are very fortunate that we were one of 5 counties in the state that will be working under a pilot program to help correct some of these challenges that we face, from retention, recruitment, pay, and we were honored to have you sit on that for Lycoming County, Wendy. So thank you for your service as well, and everyone here.
2 of the questions I get asked most often is, what does commissioner do? And do you like being a commissioner? What's the best part? And the best part is this right here. Recognizing positive roles in our community and what they give back. And nothing gives me more satisfaction to help sit here and recognize what folks like you do for our community and the positive contributions you give each day. And that to me is what we should be doing on a regular basis, building each other up, helping each other, and guiding each other. Positive comments, what your neighbors do. I tell kids what you folks do And, you know, to recognize you anytime, not just here, but anytime, to walk up to you and thank you, just like a soldier. They do sacrifices, you folks sacrifice. And to thank an EMT, thank a paramedic, thank a doctor, thank a nurse, and take that time to say thank you to those individuals who sacrifice so much.
And just to our 5 award winners, Jeannie, Sue, Joe, Ashley, and Tony, we really want to give you a big thanks. You are role models, as Commissioner said, and that's really something that's important because kids and adults throughout the community now know that you have gone above and beyond, and we say thank you for that.
Listen, we're going to do something a little different. We'll stand out there. Everybody stand so you can take our pictures this
Oh,
way.
that's a good idea.
Okay? So we can get everybody in the photo. And who should we present these to? Who wants to take the award?
proclamation?
Emergency children?
Rich, did you have anything to say?
I can't believe that. All right.
So how are we going to do this? Get a background?
Yeah.
I think we may have to stand for this.
Yes, please. Please
You
stand.
just kind of stand over. Get the aerial.
You're not hiding.
All the big guys in the back. Get you everybody in the quarter turn. Come on, no hiding. No hiding. Keep going. Keep going. Award winners up front. There you go. See? Tony? Come on, Tony. Come on, Thank you. Are all the award winners up front here?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
He was so kind.
One more.
Hey,
Okay.
one second. If you'd like to have a picture without the mask on, we're willing to do that. It's up to you.
Hold on, we need one more.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine and this one.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can we get some pictures out in the hall? So.
There's people in there. Too many pictures. Pictures
Wherever you would like to stand. Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
That's fine.
Do your video.
Go ahead.
So you got it on behalf of.
You want to say together?
Yep, say it together.
On behalf of my company.
On behalf of Lake County Commissioners, happy EMS Week. On behalf of Lake County Commissioners,
Happy EMS Week. Maybe with a little enthusiasm.
So we're having a community education program tonight. And as part of the intermission video, I have like a bunch of pictures and stuff I created for PowerPoint video. And that video, after this is, you can throw that in. Yes.
Thank you.
I can get it to you. if you
Yes,
like.
Yes, send it to, and we'll put it on the website.
There you go. And I have your contact information, so I'll just go back and forth with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
take care.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, moving on to bid openings with Krista Rogers.
Can you read what the item is? I didn't bring the agenda.
This is for the bridge bundling #1, general construction.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning. We had 5 bidders. First one is Wolnick Construction. Bid amount is $499,550. Second bidder, Glenn Hawbaker. Bid amount $873,600. Third bidder, Kevin Raker Construction LLC. $763,208.90. Lycoming Supply Incorporated, $596,357. Last bidder is Dean Construction LLC, $903,100.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Accounts payable cash requirements with Brandy Clemens.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here to present the cash requirements report for invoices due through May 26, 2021 for payment on May 19th, 2021 in the amount of $739,011.21, of which approximately 50% is county general funds.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I just want to note that, that when we place children into special services, it's a great cost. Okay, just this month ago alone, in April, I believe there was almost $30,000. That's a little bit higher than what we normally do here. But it does set off an alarm that this was a very difficult year and a half. Not only for the adults, not only for businesses, but for the children of our county. And I hope that we recognize that sometimes, our children are suffering. And when I say children, it's going to be 20 and down, and that if you need help, don't be afraid to get it. Services are available, and if you don't ask for it, you will never receive it. So I thought I'd bring that up.
Good point. Our kids have lost so much. A lot of them are cases where abuse isn't being reported, and services aren't being provided that they need. And so I know that juvenile probation, CNY, as a last measure, a last resort, do they place a child. They try to keep them with the family, very much so. And but as things escalate to the pandemic, we can see the casualties that are happening as a result. This is another result of the pandemic.
Especially for our children that are in school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very difficult to cope.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, have a motion to accept the accounts payable.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
For this week's informational series, county departments and what they do for you. featuring Lycoming County Planning Department with Shannon Rossman.
Morning, Shannon.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Rossman. I'm the director of the Lycoming County Planning Department. Just to give you a little background on what our department does and how we interact with the public and the local governments. We are a department that also has many different facets. And our mission is to plan and implement changes which will improve the local economy, make Lycoming County a better place to live, learn, and conduct business. The way that we are formed is it's an enabling legislation called the Municipalities Planning Code, which is Act 247 of 1968. Prior to that, there was various local codes that managed all the different types of planning that municipalities were able to do, and that was all combined together to form one cohesive document.
I'm sorry, Shannon, since we're all one happy family in here, I don't believe that we are being live streamed today.
But it is being recorded.
It is being recorded?
Okay, good.
Okay, so continue because
Okay.
it is critical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The Lycoming County Planning Department has 20 full-time staff and 2 part-time staff. We are made up of 5 divisions. We have administrative support, we have development services, which include zoning, subdivision land development, zoning permits, and floodplain regulations and stormwater regulations. We also have a planning division, which handles our FAIR program, which is housing funds, our hazard reduction planner, which helps with the hazard plan mitigation, which we are required to do every 5 years. We also have community and economic development projects and programs. We work with CEDACOG for CDBG programs, which you'll be hearing from Kristen later. We also work with other municipalities with their CDBG programs. We have a transportation division, which acts as a staff to our Williamsport area transportation study. And we have a geographic information system, which handles mapping. We also handle land records and cartography. Every single property line that is changed comes through our office. We also, any document that has to be recorded has to have a UPI. Those also come through our office. We do over 1,000 of those a month. We also have 2 different boards that we staff. We have the Lycoming County Planning Commission, which is a 9-member board appointed by the commissioners. In order to be on that, you have to be a resident of the county. And we have a variety of persons on that represent various parts of the county and businesses and organizations. We also have the Williamsport Transportation Study with the WATS, which is considered the board for the MPO, which is the Municipal Planning Organization. That's for transportation purposes. Since we are a county of over 100,000 people, we are an MPO. If you have less than 100,000 people, you're an RPO, which is a rural planning organization. Our transportation staff work with all the municipalities to come up with a TIP, which is a transportation improvement plan, and we get about $12 million a year in various state and federal fundings for that program. We also work off of a unified planning work program, which helps to pay for our staff. We get about 92% reimbursement for our staff time, which helps prepare these documents, which is about $200,000 a year. Many of the items that we work on throughout our year are involved with, in some way, shape, or form, improving the quality of life in our county. If you don't have a job, if you don't have somewhere to recreate, if you don't have clean water, if you don't have good transportation, if you don't have a nice neighborhood, you don't have a good quality of life. And as we know, police, CMS, fire, those are all parts of that, but planning is a key part of that also. We help promote economic development. We try to improve regulations that will include job retention and job creation. We help be fiscally responsible by going after grants where we can maximize our funding leverages, whether it's the Sylvandale project with Penvest and DCNR funding for probably over $1 million, or it could be the pipeline grant that we've just gotten for about 1/3 of the cost of extending natural gas to the Timber Run Industrial Park, which is going to be bringing in over 150 jobs.
We try to leverage funding with any project that we work on, whether it's through the transportation program, whether it's through an economic development program, working with the chamber, working with municipalities on DCNR grants for recreation, doing improvements to the Susquehanna River Riverwalk. Those are the things that make people want to live in our community. We also work with infrastructure. If you don't have good sewer, stormwater, water quality, you can't have very good planning. And we've helped give out low interest loans. We've also helped leverage funding for improvement to our infrastructure. We look at as many regional approaches to different programs as possible, whether it's doing a multi-municipal comprehensive planning aspect, the county comprehensive plan, or looking at ways to improve our zoning ordinance. We handle zoning for 21 of our 52 municipalities, and we handle subdivision land development for 25 of our municipalities. Many of our municipalities are rural and are not able to do that on their own, and it's much more economical for them to contract with us to do those. We also look at ways to improve our regulations, such as adding additional allowances for special events in industrial areas for the reuse of old buildings. We have gotten brownfield grants in the past where we did assessments to assess what it would take to clean up certain sites, and now we're in the process of creating a grant and loan project to redevelop those sites. It's hard to pick and choose what we've very involved in hazard planning and the levy recertification. Obviously, if you can't afford to pay for flood insurance for your home, it would be very difficult for you to have a quality neighborhood. The levy protects probably about 80% of our tax base. And so therefore, it's very important that we make sure that those areas are maintained, the levees get recertified so we don't lose our flood insurance reductions, and the businesses are able to continue to operate effectively there. We have been able to leverage $5.6 million from the EDA for federal funds. We are also leveraging state RACP funds for the levy, and we are also working on heavily with the Conservation District on doing water quality improvement planning with the county action plan that will help improve the Chesapeake Bay, but more importantly will improve water quality in our area. And we are able to receive a grant of $50,000 from DEP for that. Along with, we'll be applying for a solid waste plan update, which is required every 5 years. But we'll be getting a grant to do that from DEP also, and we work with 4 other counties to update our solid waste plan, which then helps RMS to plan for the future of where our waste capacities will be, and many other projects. Too lengthy to talk about. But we are very busy. We even helped out with the COVID CARES Act funds with our businesses, our school districts, our local nonprofits, and all of these things go together to impact our county and make it a place where everybody wants to live, work, they can play, they have a really solid community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Scott, would you like to come up?
I asked him to stick around if I fumbled on anything.
Come on up so people know.
The bridge bundling program, we're saving a lot of money on bridge bundling through the PIB loan, and I don't know what PIB stands for.
Pennsylvania Infrastructure Bank.
There we go.
Yeah. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Scott Williams, Transportation Supervisor, Lycoming County Planning Department. Really interesting. I never intended to be a planner. My background, when I first came to the county, I was actually in a PhD program for computational biology. That's what I was going into, right? And I kind of decided I didn't want to do that, so I started to search around for another job. And where I ended up was the Lycoming County Planning Department, okay? I just like to say, I absolutely love my job. My job is great because I get to come in to the office every day and think of ways to make this a better place to live. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better job than that. And just being able to spend my days like thinking of solutions to problems, it's great. So, I don't know. Do you have any questions?
Mr. Williams.
Yeah.
So what's great about what you say is not only do you get to think about it,
Mhm.
but you actually get to do it. When you're putting together the bridge bundling program, people don't realize that planning touches so many parts of your life. When you drive over that bridge was inspected because Mark Morawski, even though we're not required by law, Mark initiated a program X number of years ago to inspect the bridges. In fact, I heard on the news today, they had to shut down a bridge somewhere that's got a crack, not in Pennsylvania.
Interstate 40.
Interstate 40. Is it Pennsylvania?
40. No, it's in Tennessee. I think.
Tennessee, right, it's a major
Yeah.
interstate connecting two states. But, like this morning, the EMS people here, we often take many things for granted. And so that's great to hear you say that, Scott, because it's really true. And for people out there who are looking for jobs, the county's a great place to come and, as you said, not only think about ways to improve things, but actually be able to do it. So thank you both and for that.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service.
And I have many staff like Scott, so that makes it much easier.
Yes, you
do.
You can just keep them and continue to let them grow, and we will be happy.
Absolutely.
And the nice thing is you have a lot of young staff up there.
Yes.
So they can be with us for many years to
I hope
learn
so.
and to cross-train and a good example.
As well as you, Sharon.
Yeah, no.
I'm not young anymore.
No, you are young, but you know what I mean, right? I mean, we had some retirements,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
We
we've had,
had retirements. And,
we replaced 11 positions last year.
wow.
We're on 4 this year, but, we're hoping that levels off and comes back. The only position we're currently hiring for is a development services supervisor, because Tiffany took the community economic development planner position. She decided to go back to where she came from. So, we're very blessed in the professionalism that we have with our staff, and we're also blessed with having people who are interested that have come from different backgrounds. Like Scott didn't start as a planner. Many of our staff, probably about half of them, didn't start as a planner, but have evolved into that or come into that. I did start as a biology education major, but I moved into planning before I left college. So, but with many of our staff, some of them are public administration, some are social services, which many don't realize that planning is a form of social service, because a lot of things that we're dealing with quality of life issues, there's other reasons why a neighborhood is like it is, or why we're helping out with housing, we're helping out with something as simple as sidewalk improvements. Quality of life means you want to live in an area, and anything can be detrimental to that.
For our people out there, drive down Scott Street. That was a hazardous waste site, I think, the Brodart building.
Yeah, we did
right?
our
And
neighborhood program.
That whole neighborhood was the result of planning, getting grants, and we have to say thanks to our planning commission, who are volunteers who come and meet for hours and look over documents and try to figure out, using their experience, how we can best effectuate the MPO and the other regulatory guidance that we get.
Right.
Yeah. Scott, you summed it up perfect. I mean, you enjoy coming to work and you enjoy looking for solutions to the problem.
That's refreshing to commissioners,
Yeah.
trust me.
And I think anybody wants that in any occupation. And I'm glad that you found it here.
When you hear giggles walking down the hallway, you know you have a younger staff, and you have a staff who likes to come to work.
Good. Well, thank you for the update and all the information. And your department is definitely doing great things in our county.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roxanne Grieco for personnel actions.
Morning, Roxanne.
Good morning, Commissioners.
You never expected to be here this long, did you?
I know. At the prison, we have Robert J. Noble Jr. as a full-time replacement correctional officer relief, pay grade CO1, $17.46 an hour, effective May 23rd, 2021. Also at the prison, Haley R. Bardo as a full-time replacement correctional officer relief, male/female, pay grade CO1, at $17.46 an hour, effective May 23rd, 2021. At pre-release, Cameron J. Boyer, full-time replacement work crew supervisor, pay grade 9, $23.48 an hour. That is effective May 30th, 2021. And finally, in maintenance, Nathan T. Tucker as a full-time replacement, maintenance 3, pay grade 8, $20.01 an hour, effective June 1st, 2021.
Okay, any questions or comments? We have a motion to accept the personnel actions.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Ms. Grieco,
Yeah,
do you happen to know offhand how many open positions we have at the county?
we have quite a few. And I was talking to Lauren the other day, and we've been working with IT, and I did see a prototype of putting it on our county website, job opportunities for the county. So we would be listing those there, and I can verify for you that it did get accomplished, if you wish
Great.
me to let you know.
Yeah, that's
But-
great. So if people out there are looking for a job, this is a great place to work, and we encourage you to apply.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Action items, we will start with 6.1 with Maya Toon.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
The item I have before you is to vote to submit the P Corp grant application. It's to CCAP. It's in the amount of $20,000. This year's projects will be some video cameras that we are going to get for TSP as well as the landfill. And we're also purchasing some AEDs and wall cabinets and then replacing some of the AED batteries that we currently have.
Okay. Any discussion on this topic? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried.
All right, thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Kristen McLaughlin was unable to be here today, so she has Heather Kelly on the line. Heather, are you on the line?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Heather has 6.2 and 6.3.
So the first one is an amendment to the cooperative agreement for Montoursville Borough in 2017, and that is to extend that agreement through November 15th of 2021. And the second one is the budget revision to Montoursville federal fiscal year 2017 CDBG program. That is to rebudget $6,142.60 from the homeowner sidewalk reconstruction project to the curb cut phase 2 project, or I'm sorry, phase 3.
Okay. Any questions on action item 6.2, 6.3? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept both?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
May I ask Ms. McLaughlin a question?
It's Ms. Kelly's
It's Ms.
one.
Kelly.
Oh, it's Ms. Kelly. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to ask you how many CDBG projects CDCOG is working on throughout the region. If you know offhand, it must be something to keep track of all of them.
Yeah, I don't have a good, probably a very accurate, I myself work in Juniata and Perry counties. I know that we are all working pretty tirelessly, working through all of the regular CDBG entitlement and then as well as the CDBG coronavirus funds. And then we also had a hand in a lot of the CRBG funding and the new ARP funding. So we do have many, many projects throughout the region using CDBG dollars.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry I can't give you a more accurate number.
No, that's okay. That's very helpful. It's important to rural communities. CDBG is very important. These small boroughs.
Very
like
much so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Yep, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you too.
6.4, Jeff Hutchins, voting on the purchase of flash software upgrade for 10 portable radios and 1 radio from Motorola.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yeah, seeking approval for a bill of $18,055.66. What this is this was a portable radios purchased over the last 8 years. And what I found is they're purchased in 3 different lots. So what I equated is to if we purchased 3 different lots of computers, they all had different operating systems. So this was merely an upgrade to bring up to the current standard to match all of the CARES radios we purchased last year. So everything under DPS is basically running on the same operating system. This was not a budgeted item, but we also did not use tax dollars. We use SARE fees under the hazmat division that are paid in by industries when they have to file their SARE plans or anything, so no tax dollars were used.
Very good.
So are you keeping the same radio and switching out the software?
Yeah, it's basically just like refreshing an operating system on a computer.
Yeah.
Yep, and it brought these up, so now all of them under our umbrella are at the same level. And they're all poised to be where we want to be in the next 5 to 7 years.
Okay. Any questions? On the motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
6.5, Jason Yorks, voting on the purchase of a skid steer for recycling center. Jason, are you on the line?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Commissioners, before you for approval is a 2021 skid steer, GCB skid steer for the price of $57,137. This was a 2021 capital budget item that we identified with you last year during our budget hearings. We are trading in a 2009 Case skid steer. And we did get a trade-in for it. So the item was budgeted, and we were able to find one. A lot of this equipment's getting hard to find right now this year. So seeking your approval.
How much did you get for the trade-in?
$13,000, sir.
Fine.
It's on there.
Oh, is it on there?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Third line down. On here.
Oh, on the document,
Yeah.
right.
This is purchased through the Coast Guard program, so.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Hearing none, got a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a nice day.
Thank you, you too.
Commissioners' comment?
Yeah, just a couple from me.
Yep, go ahead.
For all the correction officers that work in Lycoming County Prison, help is on the way. We have a number of applicants, and we hope, to employ them shortly. So, and it is difficult, and I just want to thank you for your patience, because it's not easy working double shifts, and especially when you have a family and you're a female or you're a male and you have to worry about your children at home. As you heard from our planning department, you're talking about a tremendous amount of influx of money coming into our county and surrounding counties. And the commissioners, the Board of Commissioners, are going to be contacting other counties surrounding us to see if there are projects that we can work together on to benefit all of our counties, and utilizing our precious resources and dollars to work off an economy of scale for projects such as levees, water, air quality, whatever it may be, makes sense. And if you haven't noticed, the pandemic caused a lot of issues. And it also spurred the federal government to, I guess, spend a lot of money. So we need a lot of input from our constituents as well as our colleagues to make sure we spend it in an efficient manner and spend it correctly. So,
Anything else?
that's it.
Commissioner? Commissioner.
And just following up, I think we did a calculation, and just the 9 counties in the CW, the Central Pennsylvania Workforce Area, it's about $135 million coming. Our county is getting about $22 million. We were talking the other day about the need for broadband, and Commissioner Metzger was pointing out that, maybe satellite and Starlink, yep, and maybe this is a place where we can go to a company like that and say, listen, provide broadband to these 6 counties and get a reduced rate. They don't have to find multiple customers. So it's a good thought, and it's on this working with the other counties to try to boost the region. So if you see us doing that, understand it's being done to try to get more bang for our buck than if we just go alone as one county.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, today's primary day. We just encourage everyone to get out and vote. And it's a beautiful day, so a great opportunity to do so. And I believe that'd be all for me.
Polls are open
We don't
till
have-
8 o'clock.
yeah, we don't have anything because our meeting's being taped.
Oh, right, okay.
Being recorded, so our next meeting will be, anything from the public? Any comments from the public? Yes.
It might be worth talking about 1 June and the changes that we're going to make.
Let's wait till the directive comes out from Hutch.
Okay.
Once it goes out publicly from Hutch, then we'll talk about it next meeting. Okay? You'll be doing that sometime today? Okay. All right, thank you.
Next meeting's the 25th,
Next meeting will be Tuesday,
May 25th.
May 25th here at this room, and it'll be at 10 a.m. So everybody have a good day. Thank you. No, it's postponed until June 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, found out when I got here. Yep.
All right. Go out to the polling places.
How you doing, Mike? Good.
Very low turnout.
Can't believe it. 6.3 sidewalks.
So,
Yeah.
I think it's a date. I think it's an amendment of a date.
Yeah, it's an amendment to extend the date.
Yeah.
It has to do with, I think, the sidewalks overall.
See you, Hutch.
Aren't you
See you, Hutch.
guys, are you switching projects from homeowners to curb cuts? Is that, did I get that?
You have it there, Rick?
I'm trying to find it. I didn't recall that, but, let me see.
Sounded like that's what she said.
Really? She might have. Okay, so,
Here's what it is.
here it is. You can look at
Yeah,
that, or you can look at
the second one.
the second one. Borough Montoursville, this is the second one. Yeah, no, it's the date, I think. Look.
It's for the purpose of implementing homeowners sidewalk reconstruction project and curb cuts, phase 3. In
So it
accordance.
extends the project and then it changes the budget or not?
Okay, it doesn't change any project.
No.
It extends the.
Just
Extends the-
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if people don't meet the requirements, then they can do either one. They transfer it.
Believe me, they're cutting up curbs and sidewalks down here.
Oh, the hell, all the
Yeah, you could take it. Yeah.
If you have a sidewalk or curb out line down there, glitter on you.
Really?
It's terrible.
Where, George?
Yeah, it's
The
terrible.
city was like
Where
that.
George is out.
It's bad. I mean, it's just, I mean, there's a section between me and my neighbor, it's maybe from here to Rick. And, there was a one-line crack in the curb.
What?
One line, it was just straight down. And they came out and said, do you have to replace that? And I said, what for? I said,